Question 1. What's the meaning of this sign? D. Waiting restrictions. This sign indicates that there are waiting restrictions. It's normally accompanied by details of when the restrictions are in force. Details of most signs in common use are shown in the Highway Code. For more comprehensive coverage, see Know Your Traffic Signs.
If you want to pass DVSA theory test in first time, you can download our EOS app. App contains 2500 DVSA test questions, 250 hazard perception videos, 630 traffic road signs and 300 highway code rules. Even 98.50% people pass their test first time after using our app. You can find link in the description. Download app for free from App Store, which contains latest 2024 material licensed by DVSA Authority. Get 3 days free trial for a limited time. Let's get back to the video.
Question 2. You're driving at night and looking for somewhere to park. When may you park on the right-hand side of the road? B. When you're in a one-way street. Red rear reflectors show up when headlights shine on them. These are useful when you're parked at night, but they'll only reflect if you park in the same direction as the traffic flow. Normally you should park on the left, but in a one-way street you may also park on the right-hand side of the road. Question 3. You're approaching a busy junction. What should you do when, at the last moment, you realize you're in the wrong lane? A. Continue in that lane. There are times when road markings are obscured by queuing traffic, or you're unsure which lane to use. If, at the last moment, you find you're in the wrong lane, don't cut across or bully other drivers to let you in. Follow the lane you're in and find somewhere safe to turn around and rejoin your route. Question 4. What should you do as you approach this lorry? D. Slow down and be prepared to wait. When turning, long vehicles need much more room on the road than other vehicles. At junctions, they may take up the whole of the road space, so be patient and allow them the room they need. Question 5. What does this signal mean? D. Trams must stop. The white light shows that trams must stop. The green light shows that other vehicles can go if the way is clear. Trams are being introduced into more cities, so you're likely to come across them and you should learn which signs apply to them. Question 6. What does this sign mean? D. No right turn. The no right turn sign may be used to warn road users that there's a no entry prohibition on a road to the right ahead. Question 7. You're following a vehicle on a wet road. You stay a safe distance behind it. What should you do if a driver overtakes you and pulls into the gap you've left? A. Drop back to regain a safe distance. Wet weather will affect the time it takes for you to stop and can affect your control. Your speed should allow you to stop safely and in good time. If another vehicle pulls into the gap you've allowed, ease back until you've regained your stopping distance. Question 8. You're on a motorway that isn't subject to smart motorway regulations. When should you use the hard shoulder? D. When you're stopping in an emergency. Don't use the hard shoulder for stopping unless it's an emergency. If you want to stop for any other reason, go to the next exit or service area. Question 9. How should you use the lanes on a motorway? A. Keep to the left-hand lane unless you're overtaking. You should normally travel in the left-hand lane unless you're overtaking a slower-moving vehicle. When you've finished overtaking, move back into the left-hand lane, but don't cut across in front of the vehicle that you've overtaken. Question 10. Where should you stop to rest if you feel tired while you're traveling along a motorway? A. At the nearest service area. If you feel tired, stop at the nearest service area. If that's too far away, leave the motorway at the next exit and find a safe place to stop. You mustn't stop on the carriageway or hard shoulder of a motorway except in an emergency, when in a traffic queue, or when signaled to do so by a police officer, a traffic officer, or traffic signals. Plan your journey so that you have regular rest stops. Question 11. At an incident, it's important to look after any casualties. What should you do with them when the area is safe? C. Keep them where they are. When the area is safe and there's no danger from other traffic or fire, it's better not to move casualties. Moving them may cause further injury. Question 12. Which sign means turn left ahead? B. Blue circles tell you what you must do, and this sign gives a clear instruction to turn left ahead. You should be looking out for signs at all times and know what they mean. Question 13. You're on a motorway. When can you use hazard warning lights? B. When you slow down quickly because of danger. R. Briefly using your hazard warning lights will warn the traffic behind you that there's a hazard ahead. Turn them off again when following drivers have seen and responded to your signal. Question 14. You're driving on a clear night. Which lights should you use if the national speed limit applies and there's a steady stream of oncoming traffic? A. Dipped headlights. Use the full beam headlights only when you can be sure that you won't dazzle other road users. Question 15. What should you do when a person herding sheep asks you to stop? C. Stop and switch off your engine. If someone in charge of animals asks you to stop, you should do so and switch off your engine. Animals are unpredictable and startle easily. They could turn and run into your path or into the path of another moving vehicle. Question 16. What does this line across the road at the entrance to a roundabout mean? A. Give way to traffic from the right. Slow down as you approach the roundabout and check for traffic from the right. If you need to stop and give way, stay behind the broken line until it's safe to emerge onto the roundabout. Question 17. What should you do when you're approaching traffic lights that have been green for some time? B. Be ready to stop. The longer traffic lights have been green, the sooner they'll change. Allow for this as you approach traffic lights that you know have been green for a while. They're likely to change soon, so you should be prepared to stop. Question 18. What do the long white lines along the center of the road mean? B. Hazard warning. The center of the road is usually marked by a broken white line, with lines that are shorter than the gaps. When the lines become longer than the gaps, this is a hazard warning line. Look well ahead for these, especially when you're planning to overtake or turn off. Question 19. You're traveling behind a moped. What should you do if you want to turn left a short distance ahead? D. Stay behind until the moped has passed the junction. Passing the moped and turning into the junction could mean that you cut across the front of the rider. This might force them to slow down, stop, or even lose control. Stay behind the moped until it has passed the junction, and then you can turn without affecting the rider. Question 20. How can drinking alcohol affect your ability to drive? A. Your ability to judge speed will be reduced. Alcohol will severely reduce your ability to drive or ride safely, and there are serious consequences if you're caught over the drink-drive limit. It's known that alcohol can affect your judgment, cause overconfidence, reduce coordination and control. Question 21. What's the purpose of triangular-shaped signs? D. To give warnings. Triangular signs warns you of hazards ahead. Make sure you look at each sign that you pass on the road so that you don't miss any vital instructions or information. Question 22. Which lights should you switch on when daytime visibility is poor but not seriously reduced? A. Dipped headlights. Only use your fog lights when visibility is seriously reduced. Use dipped headlights in poor conditions because this helps other road users to see you without the risk of causing dazzle. Question 23. What does this sign mean? B. End of restricted parking area. Even though you've left the restricted area, Make sure that you park where you won't endanger other road users or cause an obstruction. Question 24. When may front fog lights be used? D. When visibility is seriously reduced. Your fog lights must only be used when visibility is reduced to 100 meters, 328 feet, or less. You need to be familiar with the layout of your dashboard so you're aware if your fog lights have been switched on in error, or you've forgotten to switch them off. Question 25. For how long is a statutory off-road notification, SORN, valid? C. Until the vehicle is taxed, sold, or scrapped. A SORN allows you to keep a vehicle off-road and untaxed. SORN will end when the vehicle is taxed, sold, or scrapped. Question 26. How will your journey be affected by traveling outside the busy times of day? B. Your journey will have fewer delays. If possible, avoid the early morning, late afternoon, and early evening rush hour. Doing this should allow you to have a better journey, with fewer delays. This should help you to arrive at your destination feeling less stressed. Question 27. You're in a tunnel and you see this sign. What does it mean? C. Direction to an emergency pedestrian exit. If you have to leave your vehicle and get out of a tunnel by an emergency exit, do so as quickly as you can. Follow the signs directing you to the nearest exit point. If there are several people using the exit, don't panic but try to leave in a calm and orderly manner. Question 28. When may you stop on a motorway? C. In an emergency or breakdown. You shouldn't normally stop on a motorway, but there may be occasions when you need to do so. If your vehicle breaks down or there's an emergency, stop on the hard shoulder and use the emergency telephones to call for assistance. Question 29. What's the national speed limit for a car or motorcycle on a motorway? C. 70 miles per hour. The national speed limit for a car or motorcycle on a motorway is 70 miles per hour. Lower speed limits may be in force, for example, at roadworks. Variable speed limits also operate in some areas when the motorway is very busy. Cars or motorcycles towing trailers are subject to a lower speed limit. Question 30. What does this sign mean? A. Route for trams. Take extra care when you encounter trams. Look out for road markings and signs that alert you to them. Modern trams are very quiet and you may not hear them approaching. Question 31. You're approaching this roundabout. What should you do when a cyclist is keeping to the left while signaling to turn right? A. A. Allow them space to turn. Cycling in today's heavy traffic can be hazardous. Some cyclists may not feel safe crossing the path of traffic to take up a position in an outside lane. Be aware of this and understand that, although they're in the left-hand lane, the cyclist might be turning right. Question 32. What does it mean if you see a pedestrian with a dog that has a yellow or burgundy coat? D. The pedestrian is deaf. Dogs trained to help deaf people have a yellow or burgundy coat. If you see one, you should take extra care, as the pedestrian may not be aware of vehicles approaching. Question 33. You're going through a long tunnel. What will warn you of congestion or an incident ahead? D. Variable message signs. Follow the instructions given by the signs or by tunnel officials. In congested tunnels, a minor incident can soon turn into a major one, with serious or even fatal results. Question 34. At an incident, someone is suffering from severe burns. How could you help them? C. Douse the burns with clean, cool water. Your priority is to cool the burns with clean, cool water. Its coolness will help take the heat out of the burns and relieve the pain. Keep the wound doused for at least 20 minutes. If blisters appear, don't attempt to burst them, as this could lead to infection. Question 35. There's been a collision. A motorcyclist is lying injured and unconscious. Why should you only remove their helmet if it's essential? B. Removing it could make any injuries worse. When someone is injured, any movement that isn't absolutely necessary should be avoided, since it could make the injuries worse. Unless it's essential to remove a motorcyclist's helmet, it's generally safer to leave it in place. Question 36. Which diagram shows a hazard warning line? A. You need to know the difference between the normal center line and a hazard warning line. If there's a hazard ahead, the markings are longer and the gaps shorter. This gives you advance warning of an unspecified hazard. Question 37. What does it mean when a moving vehicle is showing a flashing amber beacon? D. The vehicle is slow moving. Different colored beacons warn of different types of vehicle needing special attention. Blue beacons are used on emergency vehicles that need priority. Green beacons are found on doctors' cars. Amber beacons generally denote slower moving vehicles, which are often large. These vehicles are usually involved in road maintenance or local amenities and make frequent stops. Question 38. How can you reduce the environmental harm caused by your motor vehicle? C. Keep engine revs low. Engines that burn fossil fuels produce exhaust emissions that are harmful to health. The harder you make the engine work, the more emissions it will produce. Engines also use more fuel and produce higher levels of emissions when they're cold. Anything you can do to reduce your use of fossil fuels will help the environment. Question 39. Some two-way roads are divided into 3 lanes. Why are they particularly dangerous? C. Traffic in both directions can use the middle L. If you intend to overtake, you must consider that approaching traffic could be planning the same maneuver. When you've considered the situation and decided it's safe, indicate your intentions early. This will show the approaching traffic that you intend to pull out. Question 40. On a smart motorway, what does this sign mean? A. Use all the lanes, including the hard shoulder. You must obey mandatory speed limit signs above motorway lanes, including the hard shoulder. In this case, you can use the hard shoulder as a running lane, but you should look for any vehicles that may have broken down and may be blocking the hard shoulder. Question 41. Your insurer will issue you with an insurance certificate. When must you produce this document for inspection? A. When a police officer asks you for it. You must produce a valid insurance certificate when requested by a police officer. If you can't do this immediately, you may be asked to take it to a police station. Other documents you may be asked to produce are your driving license and the vehicle's MOT certificate. Question 42. Which of these signs warns you of a zebra crossing? A. Look well ahead and check the pavements and surrounding areas for pedestrians. Look for anyone walking towards the crossing. Check your mirrors for traffic behind, in case you have to slow down or stop. Question 43. What should you do if the red lights start flashing as you approach a level crossing? C. Stop before the barrier. At level crossings, the red lights flash before and while the barrier is down. At most crossings, an amber light will precede the red lights. You must stop behind the white line unless you've already crossed it when the amber light comes on. Don't be tempted to zigzag around half barriers. Question 44. You're on a motorway. What should you do if there's a red cross showing on the signs above your lane only? B. Don't continue in that lane. A red cross above your lane shows that your lane is closed. You should move into another lane as soon as you can do so safely. Question 45. You're traveling on a road that has road humps. What should you do when the driver in front is traveling more slowly than you? C. Slow down and stay behind. Be patient and stay behind the car in front. You shouldn't normally overtake other vehicles in areas subject to traffic calming. If you overtake here, you may easily exceed the speed limit, defeating the purpose of the traffic calming measures. Question 46. What should you do as you approach this overhead bridge? A. Be prepared to give way to large vehicles in the middle of the road. Oncoming large vehicles may need to move to the middle of the road to pass safely under the bridge. There won't be enough room for you to continue, so you should be ready to stop and wait. Question 47. You need to top up your battery with distilled water. What level should you fill it to? B. Just above the cell plates. Top up the battery with distilled water and make sure each cell plate is covered. Question 48. What does this sign mean? B. Roundabout. As you approach a roundabout, look well ahead and check all signs. Decide which exit you wish to take and move into the correct position as you approach the roundabout, signaling as required. Question 49. What does the white line along the side of the road indicate? D. The edge of the carriageway. A continuous white line is used on many roads to indicate the edge of the carriageway. This can be useful when visibility is restricted. The line is discontinued at junctions, laybys, and entrances to or exits from private drives. Question 50. You're driving in town. Why should you be careful if there's a bus at a bus stop on the other side of the road? A. Pedestrians might come from behind the bus. If you see a bus ahead, watch out for pedestrians. They might not be able to see you if they're behind the bus.
If you want to pass DVSA theory test in first time, you can download our EOS app. App contains 2500 DVSA test questions, 250 hazard perception videos, 630 road signs and 300 highway code rules. Even 98.50% people pass their test first time after using our app. You can find link in the description. Download app for free from App Store, which contains latest 2024 material licensed by DVSA authority. Get 3 days free trial for a limited time.